Most people think they're doing fine. The bills are paid, life is moving, nothing feels particularly urgent. And that's exactly why this is so dangerous. Because most people who fall into poverty, they don't feel broke right before it happens. They feel normal. They wake up, they go to work, they come home tired. The rent is covered, there's food on the table, the bank account isn't empty, so they tell themselves, I'm okay. But here's the uncomfortable truth. If one unexpected expense would break you, you're not stable. You're balanced on a wire. And most people don't even notice they're on that wire because nothing has shaken it yet. Life feels calm, predictable, routine, but you have to understand that calm is not the same as safe. Just pause for a moment. Think honestly about this. If something went wrong this month, not a disaster, just something annoying, a check engine light that turns into a real problem, a surprise medical copay, a letter from the landlord about a rent increase, would you absorb it or would you have to scramble? That answer matters more than your income because real stability isn't about how much you earn, it's about how much margin you have. And the reality is, most people are living with no margin, no real savings, no buffer, no breathing room. This isn't because they're irresponsible or because they don't care. It's because everything costs more, and recovering from any setback, no matter how small, just takes longer than it used to. So money comes in and flows straight back out, every single month. Rent, bills, groceries, gas. What's left over feels too small to matter, so it gets ignored. This is what we call false stability. It's a system that works perfectly as long as absolutely nothing goes wrong. But life doesn't ask for permission. In the first emergency, it rarely feels catastrophic. It's usually something small. A car repair, a medical bill, a broken appliance, a cut in hours at work. Just something inconvenient. Something people look at and say, I'll deal with it. And that's where the trap begins to tighten, because emergencies almost never arrive one at a time. They stack.
The car breaks down the same month the rent goes up. That surprise bill arrives right after your hours are reduced. The appliance fails when the credit card is already half used from just trying to keep up. Timing becomes the real enemy. It's not the size of the problem, it's when it hits. And with no margin, every single surprise becomes a crisis. So people do what makes sense in the moment. They put it on a card, they delay another bill, they borrow from their future selves. And it works, for now. This is the part nobody warns you about. Debt doesn't feel dangerous when you first take it on. It feels like relief. It stops the panic. It buys you time. It makes you feel like you've restored control. But it's all temporary. And that temporary relief is incredibly powerful because when pressure hits, the human brain doesn't think long-term. It thinks survival. The question in your mind becomes, how do I make this stop hurting today? Not, how do I protect myself next year? So the option that reduces the immediate pain wins. Again and again and again. High interest rates, often over 20%, mean that what started as a manageable emergency can quickly spiral into an anchor of debt. And so one credit card becomes two. Making only the minimum payments becomes routine. Late fees start to feel normal. And from the outside, everything still looks fine. Life continues. But something critical is gone. Flexibility. Flexibility is the invisible armor that protects people. It absorbs shocks, it creates options, it buys you time to think without panicking. Without flexibility, every problem costs you more than just money. It starts to cost you sleep, it costs you focus at work, it costs you your mental energy. The constant stress from this financial fragility is a heavy burden. It impairs your cognitive function, it makes it harder to concentrate, and it leads to anxiety. Under that constant pressure, your decision-making gets worse. You start choosing speed over strategy. You go for the quick fix over building a strong foundation. Not because you want to, because you're tired.
And tired people don't plan for the future. They react to the present, so the recovery time stretches out. One emergency, one car repair can take months to undo financially, and then another one hits before the first is fully handled. That's the moment when people look around and say, I don't understand how this got so bad. But it didn't get bad suddenly. It got fragile. And fragile systems don't fail loudly with a big explosion. They fail silently, the very first time they're truly tested. Here's the line that nobody really prepares you for. Poverty isn't always about having a low income. It's about having no margin for error. Two people can earn the exact same salary. One has options, the other only has reactions. One absorbs the hit, the other one spirals. The difference isn't their intelligence, it isn't their discipline, it's their buffer. It's that emergency fund that financial experts always talk about, the one with 3 to 6 months of living expenses. And that buffer disappears so quietly, while everything on the surface still feels perfectly fine. That's why this trap catches so many good, hardworking people. A recent national study found that 35% of adults probably couldn't come up with $2,000 if an unexpected need arose. More than a third of the population is standing on that fragile ground. The trap only activates when you're already vulnerable, and by then, escaping takes far, far longer than falling in. If listening to this is making you uncomfortable, that's not a bad thing. In fact, it's a good thing. It means you're still early. It means you still have time. Think back through what we just talked about. Which moment felt personal to you? Was it the part about money flowing straight out? The stocking emergencies? The feeling that debt was a relief? That's usually where the wire you're walking on begins. That's where the trap starts. Take a moment to seriously consider it. What's the one thing that would hurt you the most right now? A major car problem? An unexpected health issue? A sudden job loss? Or even just a reduction in hours? Knowing your specific point of vulnerability is the first step. Being one emergency away from a crisis isn't something to ignore and hope for the best. It's a signal. It's a warning sign to start building that margin, to start creating that buffer, to fix the fragility while you still can.